Listen to the Rivals Pregame Show presented by Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge. You can hear it on the air or catch it in person at the Stan Sheriff Center. Gary Dickman and Derrick Lowe will have the latest on your Bows, opponent previews, stats, guests, updates, and more. It's 1 hour before tip-off. Brought to you by Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge. For every sport, for every game, for everyone. In the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
A super game deserves a super party. Catch the biggest game of the year, Sunday, February 13th, at the Kuhio Avenue Food Hall at the iconic International Marketplace in the heart of Waikiki. Join the sports animals for fun and prizes from noon through 6 p.m. Food specials from various eateries, 22 beers on tap, and high-def TVs, including the largest TV screen in Waikiki. Tickets are limited, so reserve a table at eventsbright.com. Check out the Kuhio Avenue Food Hall.
Makai HR is the best HR in Hawaii, hands down.
At J. Dolan's owner Danny Dolan serves hand-poured beers and handcrafted pizzas and trusts Makai with his HR.
I don't want to look at SUTA rates and FICA rates and taxes and medical. They handle it, it goes away.
Makai HR, your local human resource partner. Visit makaihr.com/value for your free, no-obligation analysis.
And on ESPN Plus.
This is ESPN Honolulu, KKEA Honolulu, AM 1420 and K224 FR, Honolulu, 92.7 FM.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Ed Benkin. Mike Krzyzewski is coaching against North Carolina in Chapel Hill for the last time, and his team is so far making quick work of the Tar Heels, although North Carolina is trying to claw its way back. 46 seconds to go in the first half. Number 9, Duke leads North Carolina 39-27. The Blue Devils led by as much as 21 in this game as they near the half. Number 7, Arizona trying to hold off number 19, USC. They have a minute 21 to play. Arizona leads that one 66-63. Earlier today, top-ranked Auburn needed some dramatics to get past Georgia 74-72. Wendell Green's layup in the closing seconds gave the Tigers the victory. Number 10, Kansas built an 18-point lead at the half and went on to beat 8th-ranked Baylor 83-59. Number 4, Purdue got past Michigan 82-76, but number 13, Michigan State had a tough day in New Jersey.
Gets it out to Baker in the corner, up top of Morey. Come left side, Harper. Shot clock at 8, inside Mulcahy. Bounce pass to Morey, who catches and dunks.
At Sherry Recco with the call on the airfield as Rutgers defeated Michigan State 84-63. In the Big East, number 12, Villanova beat number 17, UConn 85-74. Coming up tonight in Pro Hoops on ESPN Radio and ABC, the Lakers will play host to the Knicks. The Lakers won't have Carmelo Anthony back. He is out with a hamstring injury. However, LeBron James may return. He has been dealing with swelling in his knee. James is listed as questionable and will be a game-time decision. Tip-off just after 8:30 Eastern. And NFL coach Hugh Jackson denies that the team ownership paid him to lose games, but did say more evidence will come to light for seasons in 2016 and 2017.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
He suggested this the other day. Like, what happens if Pat Mahomes doesn't win another Super Bowl? They will have multiple shots. They're the favorite to win it next year.
This and more, Monday, starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Welcome to the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu. Brought to you by Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge. For every sport, for every game, for everyone. In the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu. Also on our Facebook page. Gary Dickman and Derrick Lowe getting ready for Hawaii and UC Davis. Tip off about an hour from now. Bobby Curran on the call. We'll check in with him in about 45, 50 minutes here. Got a lot to go over between now and 3 o'clock. And hopefully Hawaii can get back on the winning ways and get a win today after that tough loss at Riverside on Thursday. Hawaii was undefeated in conference play. They were in first place by themselves. By virtue of that loss, they are in a three-way tie now with Long Beach State and Cal State Fullerton, who will be here next week. Derrick Lowe, let's talk about Thursday night. First of all, it was a tough loss where Hawaii had an 11-point lead in the first half, only led by 2 at halftime, still had a lead with about 4.5 minutes left, and then Riverside goes on a 6-0 run. Hawaii didn't really have enough answers and enough defense down the stretch. It was a tough loss for the Rainbow Warriors.
Oh, definitely. But before that, Gary, I just want to make one comment. I think if you had a beard, I think we'd look like twins right now.
I think so. Yeah, Derrick. I've got the Derrick Lowe haircut on the top. Unfortunately, it would take me about 10 years to grow what he has on his chin. I encourage everybody to check out our Facebook page on ESPN Honolulu. You can listen to us on the radio, of course. If you look on Facebook and you see Derrick Lowe going up and down, he is not in the studio. He is not at his house. He is not in a hotel. What exactly are you in right now, Derrick?
Oh, I'm in the back seat of a car.
And moving.
We're moving. I'm trying to multitask right now, but we just had a showcase to do here in Oakland, so just heading back to the hotel, but couldn't miss the show. I missed the last one, and we know what happened, so I had to make this one. But yeah.
I guess the question everybody is wondering: are you driving while doing the show right now?
That would be something. No, I'm not driving. I'm being safe.
Well, you are the legend. You can do so much. I figured maybe you would have that skill set as well. I'm glad you're not driving. I'm glad you're back. Let's get back to the game now on Thursday. That was a tough one. And we know Riverside is a good team. They defeated Arizona State on the road earlier this year. They defeated Fullerton, gave Fullerton their first loss a week ago today. Still, I thought Hawaii was going to have a good opportunity to get a win. They had a good shooting first half, but again, the defense down the stretch, and give Riverside credit. They're a good defensive team. They've got the 7-1 center in Callum McRae. He had an excellent second half, and Hawaii just couldn't get enough going down the stretch. And we had a feeling that might happen. They weren't going to go undefeated. Still, it was a game that kind of slipped away from Hawaii.
Yeah, you know, it was a game that was bound to come at some point. You know, Hawaii has been fortunate to play really well as of for the past month, but you know, they just met a good team, and like you said, they beat Fullerton, and they did a good job against Hawaii. But I think it was their defense versus Hawaii's offense, and you know, I was looking at the stats, and it was kind of crazy because Hawaii won in almost every statistical category, you know, except for the one thing that stood out was points in the paint. I think Riverside doubled Hawaii from 44 to 22. That's a lot of easy buckets in the paint.
Yeah, but partly or mostly Callum McRae. He ended up with 19 points. He only had 4 rebounds, but down the stretch and in the second half, generally, he was getting baskets. And I don't know the reason for this, but Bernardo da Silva played only 16 and a half minutes, and Mate Chelina played 12:47. Mate did not play a lot in the second half. He had all of his points, and he had a really good first half. DeRosier was mostly on Callum McRae down the stretch, and they didn't double him, or maybe they just couldn't get the help in time to double him, but he had kind of an easy path to the basket, and that made it difficult for Hawaii. They had a lead off a McClanahan 3 to give them a brief lead at 50-49. Then, as I mentioned, that 6-0 run by Riverside, and they never trailed. Hawaii got it down to 1 a couple of minutes later, but just couldn't get over that hump. And it was just one of those games where they didn't finish as strong as you would like. Again, give Riverside credit. They are a good team, and they're only a game and a half out of first place. I hope Hawaii can make up for that today, because if you have a 2-game losing streak and then you're coming back home, that, you know, doesn't do well for your momentum and confidence as much as you would like. Also, depending on what Fullerton and Long Beach State do today, they both have winnable games. Hawaii would not be in first place necessarily if they lose. So we'll keep our eyes on that as well.
Yeah, I think it's important, you know, not so much for record-wise, but just for the confidence level. You know, you never really want to get swept on the road. At the very least, you know, you want to try and split it. But, you know, if UH can get this win, I think that'll be huge coming back home for their home games. But I think today, more importantly, is to just get back on track. You know, they didn't play as good as they did down the stretch in the last game, but, you know, Hawaii just needs to stick to their identity. You know, I think they can get Davis with their you know, with their interior passing and back cutting and back screens and stuff. I think they can be successful that way. And then we're just going to need some of their leaders to just step up and fill in the voids here and there. But, you know, I like UH's I'd like to see how they respond. I think that's the biggest thing, right?
Sure.
After a loss, how can they respond in this next game? Are they going to come out flat, or are they going to come out with a lot of energy and with a purpose?
Gary Dickman and Derrick Lowe in the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu, also on our Facebook page. And, you know, there were some bright spots. even though they had that loss on Thursday. And one of them that we point out pretty often with this team is they have no quit in them. I mean, that was a game that was kind of slipping away down the stretch. And again, they came back and took that lead with about 4.5 minutes left and even cut it down to 1 later on and really fought until the buzzer. And I give them credit for that every single game. Another bright spot to me is Kamaka Hepa. He had a good shooting game again, 12 points. He was the leading scorer. He was the only player in double figures. And for Kamaka Hepa, in his last 2 games, he is now 8 of 12 on three-pointers. That is really encouraging. That's a positive sign for Hepa.
Oh, yeah. I mean, shooting outside was something we knew that was in Kamaka's repertoire. I mean, last game at home against Santa Barbara, he had 4 down the stretch. That was huge. That was big. Those were big threes. And then to see him hit 4 more last game, you know, I think he's getting a little bit more confident shooting from the outside. But hey, you know, if Noel Coleman is not hitting, you know, at least we know we have another capable shooter to step in. But he's definitely been a bright spot the last couple games.
Let's talk a little bit about Noel Coleman. He had kind of a quiet game. 9 points isn't awful, but he was the scoring leader in the Big West until about a week and a half ago. He's now still in the top 5, but he is dropping, and his points per game in conference 14.7. He shot only 4 of 13 in that game and 0 for 3 on 3. So that's now 3 games out of the last 5, he has not hit a three-pointer. And you and I had talked about how often teams covering Noel Coleman are really making it difficult because they're aware of his three-point shooting in December and early January. So they are making it difficult for him. I'm not sure if you would call it a slump or more of the other team's defense, but it has been noted on what he is doing or hasn't been able to do offensively. Where other guys have stepped up, as we mentioned Kamaka, I'd like to see Noel Coleman have a bounce-back game today as well.
Yeah, everyone knows that Noel is not a secret. You know, he's been killing it on the offensive end and shooting from the 3 for the since the season started. But you know, I think we spoke about it in the beginning about, you know, Noel Coleman being such a great 3-point shooter. You know, but what would he do if someone was to run him off the 3-point line or take away his 3-point shot? You know, I'd really like to see Noel Coleman continue to be aggressive, whether it's by making plays for others, you know, putting the ball on the ground, or going into his mid-range and getting to the basket. Honestly, I don't think Noel is that comfortable putting it on the floor into his mid-range. I think it's either 3-pointer or getting to the basket. But, you know, Noel's a good player, and he's going to figure it out.
Yeah, he had a couple of plays on Thursday against Riverside where he did kind of drive into the paint, had a little fadeaway jumper right around the free throw line or the elbow. I know about 3 of them that did miss. And again, Riverside had some height besides McCray, so it made it difficult, but he wasn't as effective with those mid-range jumpers. And we know how good of a player he is. It's just that his scoring slump, I don't want to really use that word, but if you want to call it that, has been there for now 4 games, maybe even 5 games. And we know he has it in him. Again, the good thing is that when he is covered or not being able to put up as many shots as he would like, other guys have stepped up. And that has been whether it's a Junior Madut, who is the reigning Big West Player of the Week, Bernardo da Silva, who also had a quiet game offensively on Thursday as well, or other guys have stepped up. And McClanahan off the bench has been a real bright spot. He seems to be getting more confident and comfortable game by game.
Yeah, you know, I think Hawaii has a lot of different weapons that we can go to. You know, like you were saying, Kamaka Hepa, his last couple games, Junior Madut, the last game, right? They're all capable. McClanahan has been a bright spot from outside shooting as well. And you can just see it affect his overall play. Whereas, you know, he looks a little bit more comfortable, you know, got a little bit more pep in his step on defense and handling the ball. But, yeah, it's a collective effort. And UH is super resilient as a team. You know, they've gone through so much adversity in the beginning, and it just shows how strong they are together. And, you know, I definitely look forward to seeing them rise to the challenge today and not let a slip up again.
We'll talk about UC Davis and some of their key players a little bit later. We'll go around the Big West and give you the scoreboard for today and updated standing. When we return, we'll talk a little bit more about UH individually and as a team and what their future was going to be like as we see it coming up in just a minute. You are listening to the fans. Let me get the wrong one here, and we'll get the right one. You're listening to the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu. Gary Dickman and Derrick Lowe here. Rivals Sports Bar for every sport, for every game, for everyone in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
I've got the pothole blues, it's the same old news. Every time I hit the streets, my car takes a beat. My alignment is off and my tires are shot. I need to find a way to lose these pothole blues.
It's okay to sing along, but you don't need to have the pothole blues. Lex Brody's Tire, Brake, and Service Company knows how to cheer you up. First, smiling and welcoming faces. Then, the best value on the island for your wheel alignments, tires, and brakes. Whether it's called our Lex Advantage or our Lex Appeal, we are your best value and choice for Michelin and Toyo tires and brake repairs. Wear your University of Hawaii logoed hat or shirt when you visit an Oahu Lex Brody's location and get an additional 5% off your purchase. Go to lexbrodys.com for more details and for our other Super Saver coupons. Thank you very much.
Catch all your postseason NFL action at Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge. At Rivals, they are doing their part to help get rid of Corona, so enjoy $4 Coronas and $4 Tullamore Irish Whiskey. Goes great with Waikiki's best wings and a slice of Waikiki pizza. As always, Rivals is following strict safety guidelines, so enjoy the NFL safely with friends, brews, shots, and great food at Rivals Waikiki on Kuhio in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
When we talk about reimagining healthcare at Hawaii Pacific Health, we're really talking about you. Because making it easier for you to be healthier is what it's all about. With video visits to see your doctor from anywhere, with virtual urgent care, with more clinics near where you live and work, and with a personalized approach that focuses on prevention. We're reimagining healthcare for you. Visit hawaiipacifichealth.org/telehealth.
When you feel like Vegas, there's just one place to stay. Find it at the Cow. Grab a drink at the Holo Holo Bar. There's just one place to play. Find it at the Cow. We got a fresh, hot look, a new sports book. We got those local meals, just like Auntie cooks. Aloha spoken here. Find it at the Cow.
Get back to Vegas with Vacations Hawaii. Airfare, hotel, meals, and transfers, just $777.
Small businesses who switch to Spectrum Business can cut their internet and phone bill in half.
Spectrum Business can cut my bill in half? Really?
It's true. You're overpaying and we can prove it. Grab your bill and visit spectrum.com/business calculator. In just 3 easy steps, you'll see your savings.
Wow. I can save over $1,500 a year.
That's real savings. See for yourself. Visit spectrum.com/business calculator and make the switch today. Restrictions apply.
This is the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu.
Gary Dickman and Derrick Lowe getting ready for Hawaii and UC Davis. Second game on the road trip here on ESPN Honolulu and our Facebook page as well if you want to check us out and see us on Facebook as well as listen. Just a programming update, so to speak. I will be here at halftime as I usually am. We're going to do something a little different. At the end of the game, we will have the fans' voice. After Bobby wraps it up with Coach Ron Ganat, we'll have the fans' voice. We'll take your calls and texts, and that will lead right into Rainbow Wahine basketball as they will be playing at home tonight against UC Riverside. So Dave Kawada will be on the call at about 5:50. That game starts at 6. So we will have the fans' voice if you want to talk Rainbow Warrior basketball a little bit later on after the game. Derrick, I want to take a look ahead when we look at the standings in the Big West. And we talked a few minutes ago about, Hawaii in the standings and now in a 3-way tie for first, which makes today's game pretty important. Hawaii's done pretty good at Davis on the road, winning 3 of the last 4 up there. Doesn't mean a whole lot today, except that they have had success. But you look around the conference, and I know the coaches are just looking at today's game. We can go a little more into the future there. I think this is an important game, not only for the confidence, momentum, not having a 2-game losing streak, but you want to have a chance to win that regular season title. If you win today, and we'll go over the scores a little bit later, but I would think that Fullerton and Long Beach State will also win today. Hawaii needs to keep pace. Now you also have Riverside with their win the other day. They are now 5-3 in conference, only a game and a half out of first. And now Irvine is starting to play better. They're 4-3 in the conference, and they're not that far away, 2 games out of first place, where if Hawaii won on Thursday, there'd be even more separation. And we know the tournament is where it's at to make the NCAA, the Big West tournament, in March. But it would be nice to get back and stay in first place as this regular season gets into the home stretch.
Yeah, that would be that'd be very nice if we can do that and get a little separation from the rest of the pack, right? We'll take wins wherever we can, but I don't want to put it all on that, just because we know the Big West, and we know that Hawaii is on the top of the Big West as far as their talent and what they can do, and so we know that there's not much separation. There's no team that's just like how there was Santa Barbara and Irvine, like always at the top and everybody else. There's not that this year, right? So as much as we'd like to grab that first place spot and keep getting separation from others, I don't think it's that important, because I'm very confident in UH's abilities when it comes to Big West tournament or whatnot, so yeah.
See, that's Derrick Lowe talking like a player or from a coach's perspective. I'm kind of giving the fans' perspective. I'm looking ahead, and I know coaches and players are kind of trained in a way to just focus on the next game and then worry about the future. And you're totally right. That's the right approach right there. I'm just kind of looking at the big picture where they kind of control their own destiny, and there's still a lot of basketball left to be played. After tonight, there'll be 4 home games, and there will be 3 road games that count. The San Diego game on the road will not count in the Big West standing. But there's not a lot of time to make up ground for some of these other teams. And we'll go over the standings in full a little bit later, but there's still a few teams, or quite a few teams, at the bottom of the conference. Irvine on the road coming up in a few weeks is going to look a lot tougher now because they're playing better. Santa Barbara, not as much, but Irvine's going to be a factor, I think, in this race. And Long Beach State, as we've mentioned several times, they haven't lost since Hawaii beat them in their first game in the Big West in early January. They've got a 6-game winning streak right now as well. They're going to be dangerous. It makes the home games next week, and I know we're talking more today, but next week is going to be huge for the Rainbow Warriors. Hopefully fans will turn out in bigger numbers than we have seen, where Long Beach State on Thursday, Fullerton on Saturday on national TV, a home game in the Big West on national TV. That has not happened in a long time. Those 2 games are going to have a lot to say as far as determining who is the regular season champ. Even though there's still a few weeks left, there's not a lot of time. We can't say now that it's early in the season. We're now past the midpoint, so to speak, after today. So now it really gets down to, like what Artie Wilson likes to say, it's crunch time.
Crunch time. That's a smart guy right there. But
yeah.
But exactly, right? Just like we say, the good teams, right? They at least split road games, and then they protect home court like crazy. Hawaii has been really good at home, right? So that's why, like you said, today's game is pretty important, not just for the confidence, but just for just trying to end the road trip on a high note. Grab this win, go home with a split, and then have those home games, and Hawaii can protect the house. So that's what I think should be the plan.
And for Hawaii, they're 3-1 on the road in Big West play. Their only loss was, again, on Thursday night to Riverside. So they've done a really good job on the road. And I know you always say in conference it's hard to win on the road. You want to split on the road, and every team will feel that way. For Hawaii, with all the travel, not making excuses or anything, but it's a little bit more difficult. For them to be 3-1, hopefully 4-1 in about 2.5 hours would go a long way to saying how they'll finish the season. Because, again, the next couple of road trips, looking ahead again, San Diego and Irvine coming up in 2 weeks, and then Santa Barbara and CSUN on the road. CSUN has been really struggling. Santa Barbara has as well, though they had a really big win today, or an easy win, I should say, and we'll give you the scores a little bit later. Again, first things first, you got to take care of UC Davis. They're always a team, even though, they're struggling a little bit this year and they've lost games like everybody to COVID. They're a dangerous team. They've got a veteran backcourt, and they're going to present some problems for Hawaii. Hopefully Hawaii can get that win and create more separation, not only with everybody else we talked about, but even UC Davis. I mean, 2-3 is not a very good record for UC Davis right now, but if they win today, they're 3-3, and Hawaii 6-2. That's only a 2-game difference right there. So you're getting more teams getting closer to the top. You want to keep them as far behind as possible, if possible.
Yep, exactly. Like you said, we'll get wins anywhere we can, try to build that record, and try to get that buffer, just going late into the season, like not only UH is getting better as the season is going on, right? Like you said, there's a few other teams that are also getting better. So that's why every win is going to matter, but I just don't like placing too much on the overall record. But then, yeah, if we get a win here, get a win there, protect home, that's gonna pay big dividends to the overall standings at the end, and the seedings and whatnot. But like you said, if we can take care of this, get a split, I think it'll be very important.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a must-win situation at all. I think it's an important game. And when you get to mid-February, a lot of games are important, especially when you're in a three-way tie for first place. So we don't want to go too far ahead. I know I have, but first things first is, again, the UC Davis Aggies, the opponent for tonight. They have a 9-7 record overall, 2-3 in the Big West. One thing I look about when I look at Hawaii as well is some of the bench players. We talk about them often, where Mate Chelina coming off the bench, again, had a great first half. Last Thursday, didn't score in the second half, didn't play a lot. McClanahan has been really big off the bench of late. 9 points is good, but I love his confidence. I love his leadership, where he apparently was one of the guys, or the main guy, telling Kamakahepa to shoot those threes after he missed a few against Santa Barbara. And in the second half, as you mentioned, he got, I think, 3 or 4 of those threes. And again, the other night hit a whole bunch of threes as well. So he's getting confident, Hepa is, but McClanahan is showing his leadership skills, and I think that's important. When I look at Hawaii with Junior Madud as a point guard, McClanahan coming off the bench as the backup point guard, Madud, again, Big West Player of the Week, and I think he's done a really good job, especially considering that the point position is not his natural position. He did have 4 turnovers on Thursday. Last Saturday against Santa Barbara, he had 5. Still did a great job scoring and rebounding, averaged 8.5 rebounds over the 2 games last week. I know he's going to be playing the point for the rest of the season as a starter, but I know there's good things to happen when McClanahan comes in. It's almost like he brings a skill set that Madut doesn't have, as far as his steadiness, maybe a little bit more consistent outside shooter, and maybe the ball control as well, and the lack of turnovers. McClanahan has not been turning the ball over, and on Thursday night, he didn't have any turnovers again, and he played 29 minutes. That's a pretty good ratio right there. It's a great ratio when you don't turn the ball over, and he had 4 assists. And he's been doing that a lot lately. I wonder if he'll maybe get more minutes in close games, because when Madut as the ball handler, that creates some problems with opponents, especially a good backcourt like today. We'll keep our eyes on that as well.
Yeah, I think that's the good thing about UH and their players. You have players that have strengths and weaknesses and all different kinds of things. I think in this situation, you got Madut, who is big, long, lean, right? He can guard multiple positions. He can get to the basket easy. He has the ability to shoot the outside shot, whereas McClanahan is obviously a lot shorter, a little bit stocky, but, he takes good care of the ball. He's a quick ball handler. He can get into you on defense. So they definitely give their different kinds of strengths, which is always a plus. I think the thing that I had was looking at last game was towards the end of the game. I think, they had like 6'4" point guards, and they noticed that McClanahan was guarding him, right? And they started to be a little bit more aggressive, going to the basket and finishing over the shorter McClanahan. So I think that's the only downfall, but hey, there's no excuses. McClanahan can probably, D that up just like anybody, but I just noticed that the last game was just his size kind of was a detriment, yeah.
Zion Pullen, I believe, is who you're talking about. He ended up with 19 points, 9 rebounds. He only had 2 assists, but he is a being scorer. And they had a backcourt of 6'4", where a few weeks ago, I think it was a 3 or 4 game stretch in a row, Hawaii went up against opponents where their backcourt had 5'11" point guards. It happened with CSUN. It happened with a few other teams as well. I believe Bakersfield was the other team that happened with. But now we're getting taller teams. And we'll go over UC Davis in a minute or two, because they have some height as well in their backcourt. Although one of the point guard at least is listed at 5'11", but they have some size as well. So what we will do, we'll take a break here. When we come back, Derrick and I will go over UC Davis, some of their starters, their numbers, and what Hawaii will need to do to neutralize or minimize their effectiveness today. Coming up on the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu and our Facebook page.
Hardware Hawaii. Customer first in Kailua.
Hi, this is Eddie. I'm the lead lumber for Hardware Hawaii, Kailua. I like helping customers find what they need. It's not like another stranger just shopping here. My customers are like my friends, and then I just help them all, and I feel good. And it just makes my day. We're out here in the lumberyard ready to serve you.
Hardware Hawaii. Customer first in Kailua.
Meadow Gold Dairies Hawaii is honored to support University of Hawaii as their official milk partner, nourishing and fueling UH athletics with chocolate milk, white milk, orange juice, and POG. Meadow Gold is proud to provide families in Hawaii with the best dairy, juice, and ice cream products for over 124 years. As our University of Hawaii continues their quest to win and become champions, we celebrate their success. Go Bows! Catch all your postseason NFL action at Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge. At Rivals, they are doing their part to help get rid of Corona, so enjoy $4 Coronas and $4 Tullamore Irish Whiskey. Goes great with Waikiki's best wings and a slice of Waikiki pizza. As always, Rivals is following strict safety guidelines, so enjoy the NFL safely with friends, brews, shots, and great food at Rivals Waikiki on Kuhio in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
Home renovations on your mind? Finance Factors can help. We've been helping Hawaii's families for 70 years. Whether you're looking for a home equity line of credit or a cash-out refinance, our experienced loan officers are here to help you reach your home goals. Call us at 808-548-3300 or apply online at financefactors.com. Finance Factors, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 449916, member FDIC.
Battery bill. Battery bill. For cameras, computers, cars, or scooters, for trucks, boats, jet skis, remotes, battery bill. Battery bill. Wheelchairs, special orders, motorcycles, camcorders, rechargers, converters, power inverters, for work, for home, power tools, cell phones, battery bill. Battery bill.
Two is better than one, especially when it comes to cashback rewards. That's why at Hawaii USA Federal Credit Union, we're doubling what you earn on all your restaurant and transportation purchases the entire month of February when you use your Life Matters Cashback Visa credit card. And don't forget, you'll always earn 1% cash back on all your other purchases too. To learn more or apply, visit hawaiiusafcu.com/double cashback. Hawaii USA Federal Credit Union. Life Matters. Insured by NCUA and Equal Housing Lender.
This is the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu.
And we are Gary Dickman and Derrick Lowe here at the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu and our Facebook page as well. Tip-off in about 30 minutes from now. We'll send it over to Bobby Curran in about 20 minutes to get the starting lineups and up-to-date information for this Big West matchup. Derrick, let's talk a little bit about UC Davis, the Aggies right now. And you know, they're 9-7 overall, 2-3 in the Big West. And I remember in mid-January, they lost to Cal Poly. And to me, Cal Poly is the bottom feeder, even though CSUN is actually behind them in the standing. I thought they were having an off year, and I don't know how many games or players they might have lost until that point with COVID. Because before that, they had 3 games canceled. In fact, 4 out of 5 were canceled. They beat CSUN. They lost to Fullerton. They lost to Long Beach State. And then they beat Riverside earlier this week. And that's what surprised me about Riverside coming back against Hawaii. They've had 4 days off now. I don't know if that makes a big difference because every week 2 teams play on Tuesday in the Big West. And it has been the 2 teams that are playing Hawaii on Thursday and Saturday have played each other earlier in the week. That's for scheduling purposes, so no team has buys this week. Still, they have a lot of weapons on their team. And let's start with their backcourt. If you watch them play or listen to the broadcast over the last 3 years, you're familiar with Ezra Manjun, the 5'11" point guard, and Elijah Pepper, 6'4" shooting guard. They average combined 30 points a game. Manjun, 15.1, Pepper, 14.9, excuse me. Pepper also averages 5.3 rebounds. Pretty good rebounding guard there. But I look at Manjun, though, with a 15.1. Here's maybe a key for it today. He averages his shooting percentage 44%, really good percentage. On three-pointers, he's only at 26%. I know Hawaii is aware of that. I wonder if you see him with the ball out on the perimeter and back of the three-point line, let him take those shots. Maybe help somebody else get ready to double team because you want him to shoot. If he's only hitting 26%, I would let him take as many threes as he wants.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it just all comes down to, you know, analytics that way. That way, you know, you look at shooting percentages, you see one guy, or for instance, Ezra, right? You said he's shooting 25% 3 points. So if I was guarding him, right? And he throws the ball inside to their big friend Francesco Bora, who's 6'11", right? I go down and heavy dig, try to get the ball out of his hands, and just kind of bait Ezra into shooting a three, or even if ball screens, right? I think maybe Coach Iran will consider going under, just to so we don't get caught on going over the top on those ball screens, just make him a shooter. That's usually what the scouting is. So
we were talking during one of the recent breaks on how to pronounce his last name, and I'm just getting a text message from a good friend who covers basketball as well. Ezra Manjun is what he's spelling it to me, but it's not Manjun. Apologize for that. But we've seen him over the years do a really good job. And again, they're both good scorers, but not as a three-pointer. We'll see how that plays out, at least in the first half and throughout the game. That could be a key down the stretch. There are other players on the team. They have another 6'5" guard, Caleb Fuller. He averages 11.6 points and 5.5 rebounds a game. Aid Adebayo is not a scorer. At 6'5", he only averages 2.3 points and only 2.2 rebounds. I think he might be another player. Dare him to shoot. Get him the ball, unless he's like right around the basket, of course. But if he's got the ball at 10, 12 feet, let him shoot. Just make it better on the defensive side for Hawaii against the other players if you can control him and not have to worry as much about him. The other starter, Christian Anigway, he's 6'9", and he's averaging 10.5 points and 6.5 rebounds. He's a little bit of a force there. At least no 7-footers like we saw with Riverside, but UC Davis is well coached by Jim Les, played in the NBA, played in over Bradley. I believe he was one of the leading scorers in the country when he was in college or up there. He was a really good college player, and he's got the experience, and he's got a pretty good veteran lineup there. Still, they have struggled at times, but again, they did have a win earlier this week. They get another win this week. They're right back in the race. So hopefully Hawaii can exploit or expose them where the weaknesses are in offense. Their numbers are really similar to what Hawaii has. And we haven't seen this as much lately. They average 69 points a game or just under. They shoot 45% from the field. Hawaii's 45.6. Their defense lets up 42% shooting, actually 41.9, and Hawaii's at 41.8. They are really even on a lot of categories. Hawaii is a better three-point shooting team at 37% over 34.5%. Three-point shooting, they're a 36% team. Hawaii only down to 32 right now. Rebounds, Hawaii averages a rebound and a half more a game. Turnovers, Hawaii averages a half a turnover more a game than them. But a lot of numbers there are pretty even, where Riverside the other day was one of the best defensive teams in the conference. This is not really the case today. They're pretty even with Hawaii. So I think it's going to be a close game among other factors there.
Oh, for sure. Especially being a road game, even though Davis is, 2-3, it's still a road game. The crowd is a big factor. Being on their home court, it does a lot. So you got to expect, some of those non-shooters to maybe hit a few outside shots. It always happens. But regardless, I think one of the things that I noticed when I watched UC Davis play was, they're not flashy, they're not spectacular, right. But they run a lot of like a Euro type motion up top, where their big swings the ball and you get a back cut or a way screen, and they run that kind of action into ball screens and stuff. They do get the ball inside to check their big guy, but other than that, nothing special. I really like UH's action. How they run off of those horn sets, and they rub screen down. They have cross screens, and like I said, their interior passing. I think it's going to come into play a lot today. And I also want to continue to see like their UH's. Like I said, I call it a brush screen, because either DeRosier or Hepa, they go hard to look like they're going to set a screen, but then they run right past, right, to try and confuse the defense, right, to get them to switch or run into each other, and then they get open for a three. So, I think with UH's different kind of action, I think we can keep UC Davis on their heels. But yeah, like you said, pretty even team. On the road is going to make it a little bit more tougher, but in the end, hopefully UH can prevail.
Yeah, I think Davis is a little bit different than some of the other teams, where Long Beach State over the years, not just this year, it seems every year, even with different players, they're more of an undisciplined, a lot of one-on-one play with them. Irvine is a well-coached team as well, but I think they get rattled, and they got rattled against Hawaii a few weeks ago. Davis doesn't seem to be that team, and maybe it's a reflection of their coach, Jim Les, but the games have been really close over the years. So I wouldn't mind a close game as long as Hawaii is on top at the end. We're going to take a break, come back. We will give you our H player, the factor player of the game, the player that we both feel will be important for Hawaii to get a victory. We'll go over the Big West scoreboard and a little bit more in the standings in depth as well. You're listening to the Rivals Pregame Show, brought to you by Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge, for every sport, for every game, for everyone in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
Here's a team physician tip from Dr. Jay Marumoto.
Although torn ACLs almost always require surgery, other knee ligament tears can often heal with proper treatment and rehabilitation with care from Orthopedic Associates.
Dr. Jay Marumoto is the University of Hawaii's most senior team surgeon. For the most advanced sports injury care, contact Orthopedic Associates at 536-2261 or go to oahawaii.com. Orthopedic Associates, Hawaii's team physicians.
Catch all your postseason NFL action at Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge. At Rivals, they are doing their part to help get rid of Corona. So enjoy $4 Coronas and $4 Tullamore Irish Whiskey. Goes great with Waikiki's best wings and a slice of Waikiki pizza. As always, Rivals is following strict safety guidelines, so enjoy the NFL safely with friends, brews, shots, and great food at Rivals Waikiki on Kuhio in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
At BMW, we made the ultimate range of SAVs. And because each of the 7 X-Range sports activity vehicles flawlessly balance dynamic power, spacious size, and sleek design, you can choose from a fleet that fits perfectly into your life. Like the versatile and bold X1, the unbelievably powerful X3, or the luxurious X7. No matter who you are, no matter where you're going, no matter what's next, there's an X to take you there.
Special offers on the BMW X1, X3, and X5 at BMWHawaii.com.
Ring in the Lunar New Year with Woodcraft Hawaii's special celebration happening February 1st through the 12th. Look for the Lucky Tiger on select products for extra special savings. Also, pick up a lucky red envelope during this sale for a chance to win a fabulous prize. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for even more chances to win. Remember, whether you're a professional woodworker or a do-it-yourselfer, Woodcraft Hawaii is your source for all of your woodworking needs.
When you feel like Vegas, there's just one place to stay. Find it at the cow. Grab a drink at the Holo Holo bar. There's just one place to play. Find it at the cow. We got a fresh, hot look, a new sports book. We got those local meals, just like Auntie cooks. Aloha spoken here. Bet you find it at the cow.
Get back to Vegas with Vacations Hawaii. Airfare, hotel, meals, and transfers, just $777.
Brother, what you doing now? I'm doing my own PV system, and I get homey fall-proof gear. Brother, I don't think bubble wrap and duct tape going work. Yeah, I get them. Check this out. Okay. Brother, you okay? I think that heat expanding stuff is true. Getting small and hot in here. Oh, no. It's raining over here. How we pop all the stuff? Oh, careful.
Make sure to have an electrical contractor and licensed electrician do your photovoltaic installations and electrical work.
IBEW Local 1186, lighting your path to the future.
This is the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu.
Gary Dickman with Derrick Lowe on ESPN Honolulu on our Facebook page with the Rivals Pregame Show. Tip-off less than 20 minutes from now. Hawaii on the road at UC Davis. One more reminder, after the game, we will have the fans' voice. If you want to talk Rainbow Warrior basketball with the calls and texts, that will go right into Rainbow Wahine basketball. Their game now will be a 6 o'clock start as they will play UC Riverside. And for the Rainbow Wahine, only a game out of first place, so a big game for them as well. You know, on Thursday's game, before we go to our H factor, I was mentioning on the pregame that Joe Lenardi, with his bracketology that comes out, I think, twice a week now, it'll be every day coming up in a week or two. He had Hawaii in the tournament with a 16 seed playing Gonzaga. After the loss on Thursday, he went back to Fullerton, who he had the week or two before that. He has Fullerton as a 15 seed playing UCLA. Hopefully Hawaii will get back on his bracket sometime soon. But now is the time to list our H factor, the player of the game who we feel will be really critical for Hawaii to get the victory. Derrick, I'm going to go with Noel Coleman. to some of the reasons I mentioned earlier, but I'll elaborate a little bit. He hasn't been scoring the same way he has, and we talked about the opponents really keying on Noel Coleman. He took 13 shots the other night, 4 of 13. That's about 31%. That, not that he's not entitled to those games. He's had so many great games so far this year. I'm hoping he's going to have one of his games that he had in mid or early January where he hits a few threes, keeps the defense honest, and makes it more difficult for UC Davis to maybe double anybody else because he has to have another offensive performance like we've seen. He's still having a very good year, but again, his scoring has been down over the last 5 games. I'm expecting a bounce-back game for Noel Coleman.
Yeah, I like that pick. I'm going to stay, within the guard scheme. So I'm going to pick Junior Madut. I want to pick him because, as I was saying earlier, he has such a versatile game. He can do everything, kind of like a jack of all trades. And especially tonight, I'm pretty certain he's going to have to match up with Ezra, their leading scorer, the 5'11" point guard. So, I want to see him step up on the defensive end like we know he can. He can bother a lot of guards, especially those, that are a little smaller than him with his length and stuff. So I want to see him get after it on defense, slow Ezra down, and then just provide that spark plug on offense. He's had some explosive offensive games in the past. And, during times where, UH is slow on the offensive end or, in kind of a lull, I'd like to see him step up, especially if, Noel Coleman, isn't where we're used to seeing him on the offensive side. If Junior Madut can kind of take that load and just be aggressive, get to the basket, make plays, I think he'll be huge tonight. So
I do agree in that Junior Madut is almost kind of a forgotten player in a certain way. We talk about Bernardo a lot, we talk about Noel Coleman and the amazing games he's had. McClanahan coming off the bench, doing what he's done. DeRosier, the 3 straight double-doubles, doing everything, doing all the dirty work for this team. And then we talk about Kamaka Hepa having a lot better games offensively of late, but even when he wasn't, doing so many other things. We almost take Junior Madut for granted, I think, in certain ways. But he has done a very good job. And again, Big West Player of the Week, that is something he really earned and deserved. So we're real happy for him. So I'm hoping he'll have a great game as well. So we're sticking with guards today, the starting backcourt. And I think it will be key, especially when we mention Davis's backcourt. Let's talk about some Big West games from today. Right now, one game is the final. Santa Barbara, who has really struggled. For them, unfortunately, it won't count in the Big West standing. They defeated UC San Diego 84-48. 36-point win for them. And then with 3 minutes left in the first half, Cal Poly leads Long Beach State 27-22. Cal Poly played Fullerton the other day and led, I think, at halftime early in the second half. Fullerton ended up winning. So I'm not going to give Cal Poly that win yet, but they do have that early lead. The other games tonight, besides Hawaii, are UC Irvine at CSUN. That'll be at 5 o'clock. And Fullerton will host CSU Bakersfield. That game also at 5 o'clock. So we'll give you more updated scores at halftime, and hopefully we'll have a good first half for the University of Hawaii. Derrick, thank you for joining us once again. Safe travels back home. We'll see each other on Thursday. Hopefully Hawaii will get the win today. That's what we all want, and it'll be a big battle next week for those first-place teams. We'll take our break. When we come back, Bobby Curran will be joining us, giving us the starting lineups and getting ready for tip-off. Hawaii playing UC Davis on ESPN Honolulu.
Catch all your postseason NFL action at Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge. At Rivals, they are doing their part to help get rid of Corona. So enjoy $4 Coronas and $4 Tullamore Irish Whiskey. Goes great with Waikiki's best wings and a slice of Waikiki pizza. As always, Rivals is following strict safety guidelines. So enjoy the NFL safely with friends, brews, shots, and great food at Rivals Waikiki on Kuhio in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
Makai HR is the best HR in Hawaii, hands down.
At J. Dolan's owner Danny Dolan serves hand-poured beers and handcrafted pizzas and trusts Makai with his HR.
I don't want to look at SUTA rates and FICA rates and taxes and medical. They handle it, it goes away.
Makai HR, your local human resource partner. Visit makaihr.com/value for your free, no-obligation analysis.
Have you been to Midas Hawaii?
Hello, Tim here from Midas Hawaii, where we are more than just mufflers. We are complete auto care, rated #1 in customer service. We strive to make your experience more enjoyable, whether it be for a walk-in safety check 6 days a week, brakes to radiators, or oil changes and steering. With 6 locations on Oahu, 2 on the Big Island, 1 on Kauai, our goal is to expedite your service and get you back out on the road. We also want to help you save money. For great rates, check out our webpage at MidasHawaii.com for specials, online deals, for services such as oil change, safety checks, and maintenance packages. And let's not forget about our tire services too. Midas is a one-stop shop for all your car care needs and is proud to be locally owned and operated by the Pereira family. Come in today or call us for an appointment. Remember, it always pays to have the Midas touch.